To do our installation, you're going to need a 4mm and 6mm hex wrench, as well as a 13mm closed-end wrench. And the installation is going to start below the max mount, and then if you come down here below the seat, you'll see these two holes. This is where the first bracket we're going to install is going to be attached. The first thing we're going to install is our main brace. And this is going to go on the front of this bracket that's part of the bike, and it's going to slide all the way up. Start by placing your main brace on the outside of the bike's bracket. Take a bolt and a washer and put it through the hole. Take another washer, put it on the other side, and then take your nut and thread it into position. Then take another bolt and washer, fit it in, put a washer on the other side, and then put a nut on. Sometimes it's easier to turn the bolt and just hold the nut. Then take your 6mm hex and a 13mm wrench. And tighten up the bolts. Just till they're finger tight, because before we completely tighten it, we want to push it all the way into the upper position. Tighten it all the way. Now you're going to take your large main brace, and you'll see that it has two sides, one with multiple large holes and one side with two small holes. The two small holes are going to fit into the backrest pad, and the part with the multiple holes is going to fit into that bracket that you just installed on the bike. So what we're going to do is you're going to set it on the seat like that. The main brace that you just installed looks just like this, and on the bottom side are two holes. That bracket that you just put through is going to bolt to either of those holes, and depending on how far forward or back is going to determine the location of the backrest pad, and you can adjust that to your comfort. To attach the bent bracket, you're going to need two M8 by 20 bolts, and you're going to need your 6mm hex. Like we said before, depending on where you bolt it is going to determine its location forward and back, and you have quite a range. And we always recommend putting it in the furthest back position to get started. So you'll take a bolt and you'll put it through the corresponding hole. And then put the other bolts in and start tightening them. And this is going to use a 6mm hex. And now we're ready to attach the backrest pad. For this part of the installation, you're going to need a 4mm hex, and you're going to need your last two 12mm button head bolts. You can go ahead and take your backrest pad and put it onto the end of this bracket, and you'll see that the two holes that were in that bent bracket correspond with the two holes in the backrest bracket, and depending on where you mount it will determine the height. So go ahead and take your 12mm bolts and thread them in. and then start tightening them up. And now the installation is complete.